Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. We're on spring break this week, but the show has to go on. So we're always going to give you some cool stories to talk about for the week. And then we're going to send you back on your way, knowing a little bit more about what the library does and what we've been doing and what you would want to know about your week. So today we've got Becky Stanfield from the David Cooper City Library. How are you doing today, Miss Becky?
I'm great. How are you?
Life has been good. I'm having a nice, quiet, peaceful, relaxing weekend. I'm just considering this one long weekend of 10 days. And then we're gonna,
It's fantastic. I'm glad that you got to enjoy your spring break.
yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a good chance. I've been doing a lot of walking, been doing a lot of riding the bike, and of course, I'm always watching the news and seeing what's going on and all those things. So now we get to talk about those sorts of things. So thank you very much for being here. How are things out there at Davie Cooper City lately?
They're going pretty well. We have quite a few people coming in. We're not quite to as how busy we used to be, but we are pretty busy. A lot of computers and a lot of people still coming in and check items out and using our curbside.
Yeah, and in fact, I was at a pharmacy this morning talking with them. They asked me, "Are the libraries open for their computers?" Because people are trying to sign up for the vaccine, and they need computers to do it. So it was kind of interesting. Like they just knew I was at the library and like, "Bob, can you do this?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can. Come on in. Anywhere in the county, we'll take care of you." So let me share off my Chrome screen here, and we'll get started on a couple of these stories. We've got kind of a mix today. The first story that I found that I was really interested in is the European Space Agency, and they have put out three $600,000 awards to various companies to figure out how Europe's going to get into space because they were building new rockets. And then this little company called SpaceX came along and was able to slash the price to almost half of what it's going to be costing them to launch out of Europe. And that's a pretty big jump, isn't it, Meg?
That's a huge jump. And, they now have all this time and experience. Like they're leaps and bounds above Europe right now.
Yeah, and it's getting really weird that we have, on the one hand, it's nice to see private companies doing this and having the big government in the United States at least, spending the money on getting us to the moon or getting us out farther and stuff like that, and just letting private companies deal with the satellite stuff. But I'm not so positive I want just one or maybe two companies launching stuff into space either.
Well, yeah, and I mean that goes into what happens if something goes wrong with that one company. If they're not able to function, like if they have a major computer malfunction or they get hacked or something, everyone's just kind of dead in the water. And if there's no competition, if there's nobody who's working on this, if people just kind of give up, then, it's like, where do we go from there?
And I think one of the key problems is the biggest competitor for them is Blue Origins, which is owned by Jeff Bezos. And so are we going to have
The tech
just
giants, the tech giants are ruling everything.
yes, it's just a mess out there. Speaking of tech giants, Google, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I think it was their Google's talking about getting rid of their cookie system for tracking you on the web because they have this idea of putting you in what they're calling a flock, a federated learning of cohorts. And what happens is they take all the people's information is similar, put it together into one group, and then sell that group to advertisers. I'm not so certain that I can be separated out from a flock that easily. But then again, I might very well be able to be set away because of GDPR. Becky, you know what the GDPR is?
Yes.
I know. Oh, don't worry about knowing don't worry about knowing what the acronyms actually stand for. But so with GDPR, for anybody out there who doesn't know, GDPR is the European privacy settings. So it controls what people can save about you, and you have control over what cookies are allowed and stuff like that. If you've been to a lot of websites lately, you've got those cookie things where you have to choose which ones you're allowed to choose or not. And all too often, everybody's just clicking on accept rather than clicking on the menu and choosing what to accept. And so what's happening is they're not allowing Slack in Europe. And the reason for that is privacy, which you tell me.
Well, I mean, I feel like I have mixed feelings about this because it came up saying that, okay, Google's no longer going to allow third-party cookies, which third-party cookies would be companies tracking your movements around different apps and the web and everything. From a privacy standpoint, yes, that, you do want to watch your privacy. You do want to watch how much information is out there. You also want to watch, what is being installed and what tracking devices are on your computer, your phone, and everything. So that part of it, I understand and agree with. But when you do it the other way, you're removing competition from these large mega corporations and these large tech giants. And it's pushing out all of the smaller businesses or smaller competitors and not allowing for anything else to rise up.
Yeah, and that's one of the real key problems is when you have these giant ad platforms, which Facebook and Google are essentially huge ad platforms. That's how they make their money. And if they can't track you, then they can't make any money on you. And then so they're going to just find a different way of tracking you or forcing you to be logged on and things like that, which are it's just a mess. And again, like you said, over our last story, you're just letting a couple of big tech giants be in charge of the world. And as we found out 2 months ago in Australia with Facebook and Google and the whole ad economy there, sometimes even state governments can't stand up to them. And it's just crazy.
Right. It's a slippery slope, and it's, like we're already so far involved in it. It's trying to control where we go from here.
Yeah, there's a great tech author, Amy Webb, and she basically has said in her latest book that privacy is dead. There's no way of getting it back. And now we have to figure out how are we going to adjust to this new world and keeping us all at least a little bit in control of it. What Europe tried to do with GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, by the way. I found the actual acronym.
Oh, good.
And the idea being that we didn't even notice last year when we gave up all of our data. If you're going to go get a vaccine, like we said at the beginning of the show, you automatically have to give everything to the US government because they're giving you the vaccine for free. So you have to give up your information to them. Obviously, the US government probably has your information anyway, but it's just something that nobody even thought or noticed. Like, okay, we're going to do this, and nobody questioned why and how about it. Because we've just
and all of the free apps that you have, everything that you have that you use for free, you are the product when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, any of these free platforms, your information, you are the product. So yes, your privacy is out the window when it comes to that.
Which I think brings us really nice segue. Thank you, Becky, to our third story for Clubhouse. Now, Clubhouse may or may not be something you know about. If you're on an iOS device, you know about this because all of your friends have been talking about it, and maybe you're not having invites. It's a very exclusive kind of thing where people are being invited in only and stuff. If you're on Android, if you don't have a smartphone, you're not eligible for any of this. In just about a year, it has gone from nothing to millions of users and $1 billion worth of market value somehow. and they don't have a way of making money. They don't have a way of, they don't even have a website. You can't go to a website to go look and see what they're doing. So there was this really interesting article yesterday that came out where some of the tech journalists were starting to dig into what is their long-term goal. Is this more than just a flash in the pan, during the pandemic when we're all stuck inside? Have you looked at Clubhouse much, Becky? Have you been on it at all?
I never heard about it until I read the article today. And actually, I have iPhone, so I just never, sorry, I've never heard of it until now. But in reading about it, I just, I'm sorry, the phone is ringing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted by the phone. No, I just learned about it now, and I find it very, I think that the original allure of it came from when they made it exclusive, like this, you only get invited to it, which, I saw when they were talking about how, Gmail, that was the genius, marketing that Google accidentally came up with by doing this exclusive invite only. So I think that's a huge reason why Clubhouse was able to grow so big, is because people love this feeling of being exclusive.
Yeah, and it's really weird to me because I don't get why you would think it's exclusive. It's talking. I mean, it's what we're doing right here, right now. It's just, I don't want to know why it's any different than what we're doing right now. Because you could have everybody here. I could be on Discord, I could be on Skype, I could be on Teams, on anything, and I can talk to people and do this. And I'm not positive that it's I don't know why I want to be in there.
I don't know. And there's other, like you said, there's other applications like, you and I were talking about earlier. I immediately thought of Twitch. Twitch isn't voice only, it's a video platform. But I mean, it's this massive platform that's been out for years. It has a huge amount of users, a huge amount of content. It doesn't seem like Clubhouse is going to really long term be able to compete with it. However, they could adapt marketing and finance strategy similar to some of these other platforms that exist and make it work.
Yeah,
But
I have Twitch, but I don't use it often. Twitch is one that you can buy and sell the tokens and stuff like that, like Reddit does.
yes, yeah, I actually I use Twitch a little bit. I follow a few people. You can subscribe to their channels. You can, buy little gifts for them, and you can just outright donate your money. It's amazing to me how much money people will throw towards these content creators. But you feel like if you like that person's content, um, the incentive for them to keep creating is giving them a reason to do it, which is paying them. So,
And see, I do that on Patreon.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just here, you're making content here. I want to pay you for it. I want you to keep it up. I got photographers and writers and map makers and all sorts of different people that I follow there and give them money for various content that they create. I think you should pay content creators. Yes.
I have no problem. I really, I do like subscriptions. They turn out to be like $5 a month. I picked the one or two that I really like, and I know that if I want to continue watching them, they need to have a reason to be there. So
Yeah.
I have no problem giving it to them. So that, so in that thought, Clubhouse, if people really get into this, this platform, they might have some sustainability there. They might.
And see, we come around full circle to why would anybody do this, to like, hey, maybe they actually have a business plan that they just haven't told us about yet. Huh? That's an interesting. And if you can make some little microtransactions like that on there and make it, I maybe they can pull it off. Who knows?
Who knows? I personally, I'm not quite sure that they're going to last. I think the the pandemic was a big allure for them. But when it comes down to it, I think there's a lot more established. And as soon as this whole, it's new, it's exclusive, I think once that wears off, they're going to struggle a little bit more.
Yeah, I easily can see that. Yeah. Um, checking in the chat log here. Hold on. I think somebody asked a question there. Getting there to our question. Yep. And yes, somebody was just agreeing with you, Becky, that yes, we are the products.
Yep.
Thank you very much for that, Aiden. So there is a cool thing that I wanted that you brought up about the library website, because we always try and end with something fun and interesting for the library here. And the one that you brought up, Becky, was some of our online resources for learning. And if you go broward.org/library and you just come to the default page here, if you just come on to online resources, and you can click there and it will take you right here to, so tell us, what do you like about these things there, Ms. Becky?
Well, we have at least a couple, Universal Class and the Gale online courses. They are instructor-led classes. Now, they're not a class where you have an instructor lecturing to you necessarily. A lot of them are recorded or they have stuff for you to read. However, they do have tests and assignments and everything where there is an instructor to provide you with feedback and grade your progress. And with the Gale courses, you're expected, they start at the beginning of each month and then they have a timeline. And then once you complete it, you get a certificate. So I like the fact that it's online learning, but you have the instructor feedback and you have to get a specific score in order to complete the courses. But there's everything there. There's everything from cake decorating and gardening to personal finances and various other career development, computers, a little bit of everything. You could learn guitar.
Yeah, and that's one of the really fun, cool things about it. I actually teach that as part of my introduction for new county employees. When I'm telling them about what they could learn and what they can go do to better their career, and say, if you want to learn how to play a piano, the library offers you these courses because we've got 3 libraries with grand pianos. You want to come in and practice and have some fun. So that was really great there. Thank you so much, Miss Becky, for being here today on our spring break episode. And
Thanks for having me.
It's been fun. Oh, it's always fun to have and get a chance to talk. I want to make sure that we've answered everybody's questions in the Q&A before we sign out, just in case. Looks like we have. Great, and we've answered everything in chat. So thank you again, Ms. Becky. I'm going to throw up our end slide here. As always, thank you for joining us for Tech Talk Weekly. If you have any story ideas, if you want to see your favorite librarian or your particular branch featured, Creation Station at broward.org comes right to us. We'll see you next week. Stay safe.
Bye. Enjoy your spring break.